Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey guys, welcome to the RU Nest. This is the weekend wrap up of Hot Topics. My name is Jordan Shelley.
My name is Christian Along.
My name is Moxon Glosson.
My name is Navarre Solomon.
I'm Kinley Stansel.
I'm Kimberly Smith.
And welcome. Oh, whoops. And welcome to our show. So there's a lot happening in the world, and I'm sure everyone is aware of everything that's been happening in Texas. Does anyone have any family or friends or anything that live in Texas?
My friend's entire family is from Texas, and I'm sure they're really struggling. I know what it's like to be without power for an extended period of time. The storms that came through a couple of years ago left us without power for almost a week. So it's not fun for sure, especially when you can't take a shower.
That's very true. My best friend, she lives in Texas, and she said that her family is like having to like ration water at this point because like it's not even good for them to drink it. So, and I heard something about like people's pools exploding, like the pipes and stuff.
It's just one of my friends, they have a big farm out in Texas in the middle of nowhere, and they're struggling to like take care of their animals. My friend, she lives in an apartment and they have power somehow, but their farm is a little out of hand. So it's wild.
I don't have any family members that stay in Texas, but like Moxon was saying, I know what it's like to go a while without power. And I can just imagine like what they're going through, and with it being so cold, I just know like the houses just freeze and they don't have anywhere to go. So I just put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, it's rough. It's rough because I know exactly how they feel. I've been through it before.
Chicago, going off what she said, yeah, it's rough for all the people. Prayers out to everybody in Texas, along with all the people who like lost family members or their lives last week with the backup that happened on I think it was an interstate with all the huge accident that happened. So just prayers for everybody in Texas.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And on top of this like crazy weather situation, thank you for bringing that up. There was like a 150 car wreck, which is insane. I just cannot believe. And I can't even imagine like driving, and then you just seeing all these cars piled up, and it's like, you're going to have to crash into them because you don't really have any other option. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Trump's acquittal. So they had a trial for his impeachment, and he was acquitted from that. So does anyone have anything they would like to discuss for that?
This is the second time it's happened, and nobody on either side was surprised that it happened again or surprised that he was acquitted again. But I was, because the Republicans have to be on Trump's side because they know how vicious his supporters are. So if you go against Trump, then your political campaign is over. But if you're for Trump, then you get more supporters. So that's why probably he didn't get acquitted from the Republican Party of the Senate. But it's just that the Republican Party also incited an insurrection. So if that's not a reason for him to not be allowed to be in office again, then I don't understand.
I'm not a big politics guy, but I thought an interesting tidbit that democratically controlled Senate, I believe, and House and basically everywhere else, he was still acquitted in the impeachment. So I thought that was interesting. But as I think Kim said, I don't think anyone was really surprised that nothing really came out of it.
I would say I was a little bit surprised just because like this was the second time. So it's like, how many times can you go through this before you actually, have a consequence for these actions? So.
And also he's the first president, I think, to be impeached twice. I just hope he's going to run again, but hopefully Joe Biden does a good job and lives and gets to run again in 2024. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely hope that I think we need someone younger in office that like gets the world now and not someone that is just so far away from the times. Yeah, I'm just like,
I mean, he experienced a lot.
true.
Yeah.
But also, he's the oldest standing president that we've ever had. Isn't he like almost 80 years old? And I love Joe Biden, but when he was giving his
Something like
speech,
that.
and I'm like, come on, pick it up, sir. You're kind of stuttering, but like, I understand that he's old, but that's the only way that Republicans would have voted for Biden. He's an old, experienced white man. And what else did we have? We didn't really have a lot of other people that would have been able to get the Republican votes besides Joe Biden.
How old do you have to be president? Is it like 35? I think something like that.
It's 35, Christian.
Yeah, but I agree there should be someone younger in office, but I don't think that's really going to happen unless I don't think they're not going to vote for Kamala. I'm surprised that she even was voted into the White House currently.
Because didn't she run for president?
She ran for president,
Yeah.
but her campaign never picked up and she ran out of money, so she had to drop it.
Yeah.
And the only reason why she's in office is because of Joe Biden, but also vice versa, because if it wasn't for the Black Lives Matter movement that happened in the summer, Joe Biden probably wouldn't have gotten president after he picked Kamala Harris, because that's probably one of the only reasons why he picked Kamala Harris was to get the African-American vote, because he doesn't have the best history with African-American people in the past. I've researched an article about this with him doing bills in the Senate that increased African-American incarceration. He voted against integration after Brown versus the Board of Education and a whole bunch of other stuff. So he's not had the best history with Black voters, but they'd vote for Biden 1,000 times over before they even thought of considering a Black woman at the White House, which is sad.
Yeah, I find it. I always try to go for finding the humor in American politics because it's all one big joke to me at this point. But I think it's funny that the best thing that Democrats could come up with was an old white dude. And I know
it's funnier because we had Bernie, an old white dude, and Biden, an older white dude.
Yeah. I would like to see, I'm with Navari on this. I'd love to see some younger people get in there. Not as much Ocasio-Cortez. She is obnoxious to me. But I really respect Bernie as much as I'm not in agreement with his politics. I really respect Bernie. I see Professor King said she wanted Bernie because the guy sticks by what he believes in. But again, old white dude. I like to see really on both sides. There was that in 2016 we had that Asian American gentleman. I can't remember his name, but he was running. He was younger. If I were a voting age in 2016, I would have gone for Dr. Carson, Dr. Ben Carson. He was just awesome. He was probably my favorite. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I would love to see some younger people.
If I was gonna vote, I probably would have voted for Bernie, because that was the only option that I had at this point. But then the Democratic Party chose to nominate Joe Biden, and it was like, am I either going to choose Joe Biden, who's kind of okay, or Donald Trump, who tried to burn the world? So it was like an obvious choice, but it wasn't the best choice that we were offered at the time.
What would you all like to see from our government, or how do you personally think that we can improve?
I feel like it starts with the people. It starts with the people in power. Because for me, I honestly feel like truly our government really doesn't care. Even when they say that they care, I feel like they really don't. So I feel like the only way that we're going to get to where we need to get to is if we hold the people in power accountable. And I know that's like a big, huge, because this all starts at the top. So I think when we get to a place when we feel like, nah, like you guys work for us, like this is how it's going to go, versus the way it's been continuing for the past, decade, I mean, it's been crazy. So I feel like it starts at the top. That's the only way we're going to really get to a place where we need to be.
Yeah, like along with Trump's second impeachment, there were some Republicans that voted for his impeachment, like Mitt Romney, I know was a big one, and some other ones. So they chose like America's side other than the Republican side, keeping with the Republicans. So I think it starts there, and hopefully we can get some fresh faces in Congress.
I agree, Kenley. I think it starts with finding middle ground. I think it starts with people, instead of, because both sides do this, and both extremes of both sides do this. They hear an opinion that they don't like and they try to shut it down. And I feel like there's a big group I like to call probably the silent majority of moderates that are just basically sick of the absolute insanity that takes place in American politics. And I think it starts with finding some common ground, and people just stopping all the hate from both sides, I would say. So
I feel like if people were like actually take the time to listen,
yep,
maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I feel like I totally agree with you. Like both sides, I feel like are just. I feel like there's like, of course, there's two extremes. You got both sides. You got one side over here, another side over here, and you got common ground over here. We're like, hey guys, we need to like listen over here. Like there's a lot of things going on over here. So like, I just feel like it's a joke. It begins to be like, well, no one cares. So I guess we'll just.
Right.
Figure it out on our own, because that's what it feels like. It feels like we're on our own. I feel like we have no leadership coming from really anybody, and now we're just stuck trying to get to where we need to get to.
I don't really get too much into like politics because just like Moxon, I think it's all a joke. I think it's stupid. But I know one thing, I would like to see more, African American people in power and just in the system in general, because I'm just tired of the same things happening, to my people every year, and then it just being swept under the rug, stuff like that. So I need to see more African American people in power, because I feel like more African American people in power, these things wouldn't go unnoticed. And I mean, I'm not gonna say that it would just vanish out of thin air, like these things will stop happening, but I just need for these things to, be dealt with the way they should be.
Chicago, piggybacking off what you said, we need more, like you said, diversity and youth. I feel like we need a better understanding from people that, like, even though the government is there for us, it's not really there to help us. It's to protect us from ourselves. So at the end of the day, it's all about control, whether they don't want us in those positions, or they don't want younger people in those positions, or they don't want to see this person in power, or whatever it is. I think we got to understand, the mold that has been America for so long, and we got to just really work to changing it, no matter who it is or what it is.
All right. So on a lighter note, that was a great discussion. So everyone, I'm sure by now, is familiar with the Gorilla Glue girl. Well, you would hope that people would have learned from her experience to not do this. But I feel like people are almost kind of like trying to make it a trend and see if, it really does have these horrible effects. And so has anyone been seeing that?
Yeah, I saw it was like a girl, they had like Gorilla Glue that's like colored for like art purposes, and she put it all in her hair too, try to get some money. So I don't know why that was a thing. Like, we saw the girl get all that money or the attention, but also saw that the original girl that did it, she donated a bunch of money that she got because she didn't want to feel like she did it for the attention.
See, that's the problem. Like, a lot of these people start, oh, well, look at that. She did that. I can do the same thing. But the original part about it was that she didn't do this for attention. And now we got people hopping on the bandwagon, trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm cool. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the I don't know how long ago it was back. I think it was like maybe 3-4 years ago with the Kylie Jenner lip challenge or whatever. Like, I feel like that was kind of a trend too as well. It was just like, okay, y'all, like, what are y'all doing?
And I also think that these people don't understand, like, you know, she obviously got a lot of help because people felt so bad and were like wanting to help her situation. But it's not like all these plastic surgeons are just going to be giving up all their resources to fix all these people that are voluntarily like doing this to themselves. And so I don't think they realize that, you know, they're going to kind of have to figure this out on their own. They're not going to get a plastic surgeon to remove it for free. And I think they said it was a very expensive surgery. So, I mean, yeah.
I think these people don't need no plastic surgery. I think they need to just live their life with what they got because this is stupid. Like, why would you try to, just because one person put Gorilla Glue in their hair and got a lot of money off of it or whatever, why would you want to put yourself through that process? Like, I feel like they just leave those people alone. Let them deal with the consequences.
Anything for the clout?
Yeah. And did anyone see that someone, I think a guy like put it on his lips or something?
Yeah, I think he thought it was a
lips?
joke. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he thought it was a joke. And he was like, oh, man, that ain't real. So I think he tried to do the same thing, but he ended up finding out the wrong thing.
Has Gorilla Glue said anything about this?
I don't know if they put out a statement. I think they did, but I don't remember exactly. But I know the woman, she was saying if Gorilla Glue like reached out to her or nothing like that, and I think she was saying like in an interview that she made a mistake. Like this wasn't like, even though because they were talking like the back of the bottle or whatever, instead if it's supposed to be used for hair or something like that, and she was like, nah, like I made a mistake. Like I'm not gonna like sue them or whatever because I did something that I wasn't supposed to be doing.
I would. Shoot, give me some money. They did say hair on the back of it. I could be dumb.
But I feel like it's common sense. Do not put Gorilla Glue on your head or your body.
Well, I think the mistake came from, because I believe she used a product called like Gorilla or something. And I guess she thought it was the one that she was supposed to be using. And I think that's what the whole thing was. I think
there was another product called Gorilla Snot, which is a hairstyling gel. So maybe she thought it was like in the same brand, but this is just a spray brand. Like, yeah. And the only reason why the plastic surgeon did that was because she was gaining a whole bunch of followers. She got a whole bunch of money. She's represented and has a manager now. So it's like, even though she didn't do it on purpose, she's making a lot of money from it. And she probably, because she stopped giving out information to the public and only sold her story to TMZ after. So it's like, you didn't do it on purpose, but you're really monetizing that.
I heard she almost has 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, I was just about to say she got verified on Instagram, like just for, I guess, making a mistake. Like,
it's been people doing like Gorilla Glue birthday cakes and Gorilla Glue nails, like 4 nails being like Gorilla Glue and the 5th nail being the hair. She's been going like, I don't understand how the situation's gotten so crazy. But I mean, if she can monetize it, that's on her. That's good for her.
That is crazy. Well, to wrap up our show, let's talk about something exciting for Reinhardt. Homecoming is coming up. Is anyone excited?
I did not know we had homecoming, and I'm a junior.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, guys. I've been a commuter for 3 years.
I didn't know, and I live on campus.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, homecoming's a pretty big deal. They have a whole thing for it.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I play football, and I just didn't know that the homecoming was so early. But I am excited. Let me say that I am excited. But I didn't know it was this early. I thought it was a little later on.
Well, I think it's usually, because like, the season was like flipped. So I think it's usually in like October.
Yeah.
So, now I think they're just trying to get everything in before the end of the year. But I think I'm glad, that we just with COVID and everything, I'm glad that we get to do homecoming and try and make things as normal as possible, because it's, I just don't know when COVID's going to end. So I'm like, at some point, I think we just got to keep like moving forward and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm just glad they allowing us to have this homecoming game, especially with COVID going on, because Our first home game, you know, the fans like was very limited. I think they only wanted immediate family and I guess like close friends or whatever. And so I want to see how they're gonna do it with homecoming. Like, are they gonna up it to, I guess, another 100 people or whatever? But I'm just excited for the game. I mean, you know, y'all should come and support. We've been whooping some tail, and you know.
When is the game?
It's next week. I believe the date is the 27th, next weekend on Saturday.
I'm in the camp of people who are like, we shouldn't be at school at all. So no offense to y'all playing football, but I don't think this should even be going on because we have a whole pandemic going on. But yeah, I don't think if they have to do the game, I don't think they should up the count of people. I think it should be lowered because especially if y'all gonna have parties afterwards, then that's gonna be a problem for the school.
Parties aren't even allowed. Like, I think if you get caught with a party or something on or around campus, you have to pay like a fine for it, and you get a strike. So,
What are really quick? Can everyone just go through and say their level of worriness about COVID? Like 10 being super high, 1 being super low. So I'm gonna say mine is probably a 5.
mine
Probably
would
between an 8.
be- Oh, my bad.
I just said mine's probably about an 8.
Mine would probably be around like a 5 or 6.
I think it depends for me personally. I'm not super worried about it. I'd probably be around a 1 or 2 because I've already had it and it's not that bad. But for like immunocompromised people and the elderly, that would be different.
Yeah, I'm with Moxon on this. I'm not very concerned about myself since I've already had it, but I'm about a 5 for everybody else.
I'm a 10. I haven't left my house in almost a year. And I already had problems with germs in the first place. So this is like my worst nightmare. And even if I'm more worried about if I get it and giving it to someone else than I am about getting it myself. But
I'm personally at like a 6 or a 7, just with like sports and everything going on and people around us, like stuff like that. Because I've had professors get it, and so I don't know. But you know, they say it's supposed to be better for younger people, but I'm worried about people that I could like give it to more than myself, like everybody else said. So.
Well, thank you everyone for watching this week, and we will see you next week for another episode of RU Nest Weekend Wrap Up of Hot Topics. Bye.